So I really think when it comes to the Slime Diaries and when it comes to the city or the town or kingdom, whatever you want to call it, of Tempest, I think Yume in this episode said it right. Yume and his party said, "I cannot believe that this is a town or a kingdom, or a city of monsters. I can't believe this is a city of monsters. Things like this only happen back at the kingdom." And that sentence, that line, that train of thinking is significant into showing the world on what the forest of Jura, what the potential kingdom and the future kingdom of Tempest will be to the world. I just think it's so important. And one of the things that I've called out since Reincarnated as a Slime, but also Slime Diaries, I think the Slime Diaries just extenuated that even more. But one of the things that I've always called out about what Rimuru has done is he has brought different people, different races of monsters together. And he has given them purpose and culture. And he has provided something that is so unique to a lot of other people within this world as it stands already, right? So, like, Yume and his party said, like, wow, things like this only happen here because there's culture there already within the humans. But if you look back at how we've got into here, not only in Slime Diaries, but Reincarnated as a Slime, right, is you had the goblins, right? So you have the goblins, and they were pretty much living out of shacks. They were like indigenous people in a sense. You had your orcs, right, who were just always fighting to survive. Again, kind of indigenous. You had our lizard people like Gabiru and them, which always lived underground, lived secluded, lived away. You have the ogres, right? Who the ogres are probably the ones out of all of them who had the most dignification and had the most culture already pre-existing. But because essentially all of their people got wiped out, the culture went with it. So Rimuru has grabbed these four groups and he has given them his culture from where he comes from Japan. And it is so instilled in Tempest, and it's becoming such a normality for these people, for these monsters, that they are no longer just monsters. They're living their day to day. They're living their lives. They are doing, festivals and gatherings and holidays, and they're doing it under the umbrella of protection of Rimuru and Tempest as a whole, because they all can fight. They're all monsters at the end of the day. But, that culture that he's providing him is just so significant. And I think it really does take an outsider's perspective, like the adventurers who refuse to leave, or like you, to really notice, like, this level of culture here only happens in other places. And honestly, they're doing it better. So I just think that was so significant, so powerful to Rimuru as a character and for what he's trying to accomplish. And it's just so beautiful to watch, especially in this form, in the Slime Diaries, in this slice of life, chill, watch it happen style. It makes for such an enjoyable viewing experience and engagement experience, and I really, really love it. As we look into this episode, right, this time he was instilling Christmas onto them, which is not only important to bring people together. It's not only important to be able to, have this time of year to show your love and share it with others that you love, give presents, give thanks. It's also important for the children who are growing up there. It's important for, the different species here to blend, right? You had Gabiru and the doctor going at it, but they weren't going at it as monster versus human. They're going at it as Gabiru versus the doctor guy, right? They're going at it as people. And they were doing it because their cultural differences between, Gabiru was like, the kids need to sing their hearts out. Doesn't matter what it sounds like. They just need to do it. And the other one was, the doctor, he was like, well, they need to have harmony. They need to be able to move your heart. And obviously, I side with Gabiru. I'm just like, you don't need to do that. They'll move your heart just by giving their all. But that's just my opinion. But like I love how those things happen. But as the episode kind of went on, Rimuru was really instilling that culture within them, with Christmas time, and it was such a pleasure to watch. It starts off with him, telling them about what Christmas is, what it is, what it's about, what Santa Claus is, trying to realizing, explaining what Santa Claus is, somebody who comes in and gives you presents and stuff, wondering. Based on what Great Sage said, these are the powers you would need to do what Santa Claus did. He's wondering, like, is Santa Claus an otherworlder? Did he come from somewhere else? And as the episode went on, like, they began to get, do the preparations. The dwarves got the trees together, got the lighting together. Shuna was able to do all the different recipes that Rimuru had in mind. They were able to go and hunt for the specific type of monsters that they needed, which was like turkeys and stuff for the time. It began to really get them all hyped up for Santa Claus coming and dropping off presents. And Milim was losing her mind. I loved Milim's eye and Milim's like hearing. Like she has like this skill to where she has like super hearing, but it's selective hearing. And then she has a keen eye to where she can just basically see what she wants as well. It's so crazy. It was such a funny experience. But ultimately, Rimuru ends up like dressing up as Santa Claus to do it after all the festivities happen, and he goes to drop it off at Milim's room, and she just totally like obliterates him, which is just hilarious, But she's convinced that she's seeing Santa Claus. So I thought that was hilarious. But they get the festival together. They get the Christmas festival together. They all share it together. One of the adventure girls, I forget what her name is, you can throw it in the comments, but she ends up singing a song. It brings everybody together. Everybody is watching this festival happen. Rimuru and Milim are able to eat. They're able to eat the food that Shuna made. Shuna declares war, a culinary war against another kingdom, because there was a comment made that, this is as good as the best chefs in this other kingdom. And she's like, oh, there's people like that out there. She has a glit in her eye that Rimuru called out. And it was just a beautiful experience to watch. And as we move into the next episode, we're going to get into New Year's. Even Veldora and Ifrit called out. I was like, man, I feel like these people just party all year long. But because there's so many holidays that happen in IRL, right? There's so many holidays that happen, especially in the world that Rimuru came from in Japan. That, these things are the ones that happen, every 2 to 3 months. These are the things and festivities that happen. This is what culture is. And I just love watching it. I feel like I'm a part of it. I feel like I love watching it. I'm so invested into the characters. And I'm invested even more so. And as we transition into reincarnated as a slime, when it comes back here in a few weeks in July, I'm just going to have that much, that love even further. The last thing I want to leave off on is, Rimuru was a little bit bitter when Xion began talking about love. And, this anime has made me love Xion even more than I did before. I always thought, she was like crazy top tier. Like, if I were to describe my ideal 2D waifu, it would be like Xion for sure. Obsessive, angry, all of it. Like that's what gets me going. And, the Slime Diaries has made me love Xion even more so, because she's just like willing to just give her all for Rimuru. And on the flip side of it, on the calm, collected, skillful, caring, colonistically endowed, you have Shuna, right? And these are his, as he's being bitter about love, he has these two polar opposite females around him all the time who completely give their all to him. So he hopefully one day his eyes open and sees that, like, you have these two wives essentially. They're perfect. They're perfect in their own way, and they're opposites in their own way. But the love that they have is done one way, and hopefully he gets to have that happiness at one point, or at least hopefully we evolve into the area where he realizes that. And hopefully with the actions that happen in Reincarnating the Slime, with, Xion dying and him having to go through what he did, hopefully he realizes what they mean to him. All right, guys, that's been my review for this week's episode. Leave a comment down below. Let's chat about this week's episode. Leave a like before you leave, and subscribe. And make sure you guys come back for more. for next week's episode, which is gonna be the last episode of the season, which is New Year's. Hey guys, I'll see you for any other anime we cover here on the channel, like these ones over here. See you guys next week. Peace.